Now we're going to talk about shareholder loans, preferred shares, and equity ratchets. Shareholder loans serve a specific purpose with private equity firms. They allow them to increase management's share of upside in the investment and better align their interests. So let's imagine an example with a company that has an enterprise value of $50 million. Let's say we max out the debt at $30 million and then have to provide $20 million of equity. Now, as a private equity firm, if we provided 19 of the $20 million as straight equity and gave management $1 million, they'd have a relatively small stake in the business. What we could do instead is if, say, management put in $2 million, private equity firm put in $2 million of straight equity, and then the private equity firm put in a shareholder loan with payment in kind interest of $16 million, that would sort of cap a bit of the private equity firm's upside return and give management more exposure. So this might be a good incentive tool to really get management going. Let's take a look at preference shares or preferred shares. We can look at the different terms and issues with them. It's normal for private equity firms to subscribe for preferred shares. They're often redeemable, they have a fixed dividend, and of restricted voting rights. The main reason for the preferred shares is the liquidation preference in the event that the company is sold. Issues, however, do surround these types of securities. There could be tax issues with changes in tax law. It's not deductible like interest is. So for a private equity firm, in terms of their operation, that's an issue. And lastly, it may not make sense for the company to pay out cash as a distribution. Now let's look at equity ratchets. Ratchets are a tool to increase or decrease the relative ownership of different shareholders. So the private equity firm or the management stake may be increased or decreased over time due to equity ratchets. One reason is that actual results may be materially different than what the projections were. There may be a repayment of debt or redemption of preferred shares that needs to be adjusted for. And essentially it bridges the gap between expectations and reality. So investors put this in place to protect themselves if management has a very bold forecast that they expect to hit, but delivers something that's materially lower. The equity ratchets would come into play to adjust the private equity firm's ownership as being higher. If management over-delivers, they may get an increased position in the business due to their overperformance.